Good morning. Here is Kramer's Corner with a daily technical update on the 21st of November. We will have a little bit of preview on the Nvidia share price and action yesterday. Nvidia is due with its earnings after market today, so we will see a market reaction, of course, in the aftermarket, but also tomorrow in the normal market session. What happened yesterday was that Nvidia actually closed at an all-time high. It took out the previous peak here, which was not an all-time high, but new all-time high. And if we see some really great numbers from Nvidia, well, then there's room up to 540, possibly up to 560. Here on the weekly, it's also interesting. What is actually interesting, we see there's massive divergence on the RSI, but the MACD is actually turning around. So maybe that will also be cancelled. It has also broken its falling trend line, as we can see here. So there is and since it's actually a lagging indicator, then we should also, of course, talk about that it is a little bit slow to react. There's no divergence on the daily, so quite interesting there. Anyway, let's move on. It's probably also Nvidia that, it is also Nvidia that also helped the indices higher. We have S&P 500 touching the 4550. We talked about 4540, 4550, but yesterday it touched the 4550, and we are very close to its peak here, just around 4600, and so it seems to be in the cards that we will also have a look at that. We have a higher close on Nasdaq 100 above 16,000, and there is now room up to the previous peak around 16,764, 65. Let's see if we can get there, but usually, and well, probably not this week, but maybe towards the end of the year. But Thanksgiving week is always a quite positive week. We have Eurostoxx. European markets are stalling a little bit. We unchanged day yesterday, and today again we are dancing around the 4340 resistance. DAX slowly crawling towards the 16,000, but the buyer that has been hit heavily lately is dragging on the index, so it's struggling a little bit here below 16,000. So don't expect too much upside potential for DAX on the short term at least. AX 750, 763, 765. Expects some range trading between those two levels there, with a little bit to the upper side. Probably try to have another go at the 763 level. Belgian market also a little bit. We digged a little bit deeper into it yesterday, but it's sliding a little bit lower and could probably test the 3,500 support area. But the shoulder-head-shoulder, the inverted shoulder-head-shoulder is still in play. It's not the best, but we should have more downtrend, but nevertheless there is a downtrend preceding to the shoulder-head-shoulder. The CAC 40 dancing around the 200 moving average. It's in an uptrend, but it seems like also it's stalling a little bit, and I think we could see maybe a little bit of a setback here. So in general, it seems like we will have a fairly positive US market and a fairly lacking or sideways stepping European markets. However, Swiss market here, SMI, is currently testing 55 moving average, very close to break above the 60 on the RSI, and that's what we should keep an eye on if it can actually move higher. It might be forming this rising wedge-like pattern here, but keep an eye on the RSI. Euro dollar reached the 61.8 retracement at the entire downtrend since from July till October, just around 109.50-60 level here, and the resistance. I would expect a little bit of a setback over the next couple of days. If we are looking at the cable is, there we are, 125.46, some resistance there, but there's still upside potential. You can see it's slowly crawling higher, and uptrend is still confirmed. A little bit weak on the RSI here, but if it does take out 125.46 with a close, well, then there's room up to 127, 127.5. Dollar yen sold off heavily here the past couple of days. 147.32 support. We actually have the RSI below 60, so we can say now the divergence has been traded out. Let's see if it can dip lower. If it breaks below or close below, because I actually did break below, well, then there could be potential down to around 145, 144.70 level here. But the 100 moving average will add some support. But it seems like the tide has turned here for the yen pairs. What we all can also see here on the euro yen, I think we could see a sell-off down to around the 61.8 retracement at 160.20 and testing the rising trend line here. But with the positive RSI still, and there's no divergence, I think it is merely just a correction, and it will move higher after this correction. Also, yen 96.82, testing this one again. You see how it's jumping from more or less support to resistance, and all that. So let's see if it does start moving below here. Well, then we are looking at 96, 95, 85 support level. Aussie dollar, very close to be testing the 66 resistance and the 200 moving average there, and I think we will slide a little bit lower. There is a positive sentiment in the RSI, but it seems to be stalling a little bit. Finally, on the dollar index, 102.86, this support area here, 102.86, 103. Bearish RSI could move lower, but I think this is where we stop. It is not unlikely, however, that we could dip down to 61.8 retracement at 102.20, but then it will also be quite stressed. Gold is having another go at the 78.6 retracement here of this correction. Again, it was rejected here just around 1992. It peaked above a little bit higher though, and I think actually we will get higher on gold. I would say we could move to the 138.2 projection of this correction here, which is just around 2039, but potentially higher. If it takes out the previous peak, that's really something to keep an eye on. Today could be quite decisive. There's no divergence on the RSI. It is supporting higher levels, and as we speak, we are just below on the RSI 60. But a close above, and then I'm quite confident we will see higher highs. This is not a recommendation, by the way. Silver really struggling with the 23.77.78 retracement and the falling trend line here, or the resistance and the falling trend line. Can't really break above, despite RSI being positive. It's actually been for quite some time. I think if it can close above, then we will see a swift move up towards 25 and a quarter, possibly to 26. Copper, quite interesting. It's finally on the move after being building energy for quite some time, and it did confirm uptrend yesterday with RSI closing above 60. Now it's testing the key resistance at 382.20 and the 200 moving average. What is interesting, if we look at the weekly chart, which is so it's actually testing the upper falling trend line, as we can see here in this triangle-like pattern that actually broke out of some weeks ago, but it couldn't get below 354.5. That was the key support we've talked about for a long time. If we do break above 382 with a close here the next couple of days, and the falling trend line, then there could be more upside potential to 400. There will be our story a little bit later, a little bit more digging a little bit deeper on copper later this morning. The WTI crude oil bounced off support here, and it's just trading sideways just below the 200 moving average. It needs to take out the this little spike here, 79.77, for building an uptrend short term. Same here on Brent, 83.97. It needs to take that out to move higher. And finally, on the US 10-year, there we are. 436 is the key support, but what is interesting again, well, as we speak, we are just below 40 on the RSI, but the day is not over yet, and we are talking about closing prices, so that's really key to watch out for. If we look at the Treasury future, it is still below 60. It can't really close above, so that's something that I will keep an eye on. Being rejected at 60, and if it's being rejected once again and dropping back below the lower rising trend line here, then we could see higher rates. All right, that's all for today. Talk to you again tomorrow when we know more about Nvidia.